Oh, God.
I'm kidding.
Jesus.
Welcome to Lady Jane's Purple Pill.
So I have to ask, what exactly is the purple pill? What do you...
He doesn't talk like that, even though his mustache looks like that. He doesn't really talk like that.
Now hold on a second, because see.
Oh, my bad. I guess you can create anything. My bad.
This is one of those things where we have to really set the mood, because I've never heard of the purple pill.
So the red pill is reality. The blue pill is an illusion.
Yep.
Right? So you have the matrix, which is where the terms come from, right? Red pill, blue pill. Red pill is you wake up, you see what's really going on, and you live it. The blue pill is you stay in your imaginary world that has been created for you, essentially.
Stay asleep.
Yeah. So, but red pill, you have things that they talk about as if they're facts. But the thing is that statistics can be altered. Okay. And depending on the people group you go to, and I've read multiple studies. It's not just one study I ever take whenever I do something. I go and I look and I read multiple studies, and I might even do an average myself. If one study says 12%, one says 50%, one says 60, I'll add them and then divide them by 3, right? And so then I kind of get an average between the studies because it's different people groups and stuff like that. And so I can kind of get a better idea of what's going on for me. But you always can take one study that shows your favor, whether it was done properly or not. I prefer studies that have peer reviews, whatever the case is. And a lot of the red pill, what they say, it's factual. It is.
Correct.
But so the thing is that some people can happily live in their delusion.
Correct.
It's not likely. But for instance, an OnlyFans girl finding a 6-figure man, that is likely. I think that is likely. That is not the norm.
It's not.
And
mind you, given hypergamy,
right,
it is kind of a destined wish on the female side, of course.
Right.
Because if she's easily making that due to her alternative lifestyle, the guy she's going to be interested in is going to have to match, if not exceed it.
And the thing is that you don't understand. Like, I know quite a few millionaires because of the circles that I'm in, the business kind of circles that I'm in and stuff like that. And some of them want, like, that's what they would like. They're very socially awkward. They know that she wouldn't be. And so the thing is that I'm not, just because I'm around millionaires, I'm not saying everyone's like a millionaire necessarily would. So, so she might not find a millionaire. Right. That's going to be less likely. And over 57%. So studies we talked about, 57% of millionaires are married and they're considered to never have cheated. Right. Okay. Is that true or not? I mean, maybe their wife never found out. Right. I don't know. But 57%, and they've been married for over 20 years. Ooh. So the thing is that typically when you build with someone, they wind up staying together.
Naturally.
Like it's going to, and the more money you make, the less likely you are to divorce.
100%.
Because financial is a big reason for, and again, this is studies, right? But you sit here, you talk about like red pill is very traditional, right? Yeah. That's what they want to go on, traditional and whatever, and all this stuff. And okay, but is that even something that can exist today? So then you're talking blue pill, because modern meets traditional. One is modern, one is traditional. I'm not going to go 50-50 with you and then do all the housework.
Correct. No.
There are men that want that. I know somebody. I know a few somebodies who say, well, she should do all the gender roles. Well, we're both making money. But the thing is, I believe in gender roles. Maybe it's more so roles that I believe in, because the gender things might have to look a little different. Maybe you do the laundry and the dishes and I do the rest. I cook, I clean, whatever. Right. But, so it's just like.
So, I mean, and again, with this being modern times, the issue with the red pill space is that, as we're talking about how there's fact, it is based on fact, it is heavily diluted right now with people. And this is what happens with any space, unfortunately. And that's why I really like this name. Red pill is now diluted with people practicing as red pill content creators when they are simply out for the views and the
Right.
responses.
So they're like pick-me's.
100%.
Yes.
And the downside is that and the fact is they're pick-me's even as guys too.
Right.
'Cause typically, pick-me's typically the girls that are entering into space.
Yeah, but
I
guys
feel
can
like
be pick-me's too.
I guess
Everybody
it can.
can.
I'm
Can
not
be.
used to that terminology.
Well,
being-
because you're saying pick me, and you're doing this
Yeah.
so you can get picked.
Well, I wouldn't even say
in that sense.
I wouldn't even say pick me to that degree, because what I see is it's more of a, I don't want to say espionage. It's very dark, versus pick me is usually I'm willing to do this or forgo this. I'm special. Look at me.
Right.
But in this case,
you
they're
don't think
taking
this.
that'd be like me going to your church, joining your church. Mind you, I go in the club on the weekends. I'm smoking dope and doing all this on the side. But I go to your church and I'm saying, hey, look at me. I'm this amazing guy. Look at me tithing.
Right.
and
Instead of
everything
you
else.
being
It's just
real
fake.
and saying
correct. And
saying,
like,
yeah,
this ain't
I
my
do
life.
this, but I know I want to live for God. I'm conflicted, but I'm going to keep feeding.
Correct.
I'm going to, because whatever master you serve more.
Right.
So then you're like, I want to put this more in my life as I try to transition.
Actually, I
Maybe
take that
that's
back.
what it is.
Let me change it up and make it financial. Me going to your church, being this, oh, I'm holier than thou, tithing $1,000 a month, only to then just write it off as a tax. Like, it's only just for a benefit of my own.
I mean, I
That's
definitely write it off as a tax.
but my
But
heart's
you're
not in
saying
it.
right.
Yeah.
And God loves a cheerful giver.
Correct. And so really, that's kind of what I see happening.
That's gonna be
in the
between
red
you and the
pills.
Lord.
Truth. Yeah.
Sorry, just gotta throw that out there. Okay.
Well, because your heart's judged, whether or not at the end of the day, I'll only tip my toe in this. It's all based on your heart.
100%.
The life you live and the judgment is all based on heart.
Right.
And I say that because no matter what you believe in, you cannot deny the vibrational frequency of love, and I mean agape love, of course. That in its practition as a lifestyle, you follow Christian values naturally. So I don't care what you believe in. If love is your focus on an agape level, naturally you're going to operate in the spirit of abundance all by itself. So anyways, so yeah, in this red pill space, I do see it being very much diluted with fake people that are pretending to be that. And so then what happens is you have false narratives being created, or you have extremisms being created, or you have people that are just really spiteful, and you have the red pill getting darkened by black pill, which are the incels, real incels, not people that were hurt and they're just pissed off, but people that truly do have evil intentions to harm people of the opposite sex.
Right.
So there's that. So for me, versus blue pill, I will say, not only is it bliss and idiocracy and not knowing truth, but there's also I don't have to show up.
Real quick, do you know that there are studies that are linked that show that depression is found in those that are more intellectual?
Oh yes.
Because it really is. Ignorance is bliss.
100%.
Okay, sorry. So you're saying the delusion.
And I'll add to that because of the fact that I find it, like when I was in the dating world, I find it very much so harder to have a conversation over text, because the way my brain works, I send a paragraph because I'm an analytical person.
We don't want to read that all.
Yeah. So, it's very much like you can't turn your brain off. So I always find myself over explaining to help create context so that somebody understands where I'm coming from, because they don't think the way I think.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, blue pill, unfortunately,
I do that
going back to what we were talking about, like when you have the blue pill from a man's perspective, the downside with that is now all of a sudden you have a man that's not really showing up as he should, because he has been softened. He has been, tranquilized with his prescription medication because he's ADHD. No, he doesn't have an outlet for his testosterone, which is what we need naturally. So God, that's a whole other subject. So, unfortunately, blue pill, that world that we are currently living in is only because of what the agenda has done to us as men.
Right. Yeah. No. And I agree. And then women also have created that. They've definitely helped, but men have helped create the women that exist in the blue pill space.
100%.
It's like realistically, what's funny is that just because you're an OnlyFans doesn't mean you can't build something.
Correct.
Right?
No, that's fair.
But to expect somebody who would, they always talk about purity. Okay. and body count. And the thing is that those same studies also show a lot of the same things. There's a certain point where a man will react the same way a woman will, and then once he gets even more, he then will act a different way. Okay. The studies will show, they only read one side, or they'll be like, well, men can be with, however many women. In a way they can.
Yeah.
But also they react the same way as far as like, jumping from relationship to relationship, or just person to person, or whatever.
There's a lack of trust that happens.
Yeah. And so it's like,
for the man, I can't speak for the woman.
Right. And for the woman, no, there is too. And so it's like, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't matter, but there's a lot of things that go into context. Was this woman only sleeping with people she was in a relationship with? Do the relationships not last long? There's still a problem there.
Right.
But it's like, if I'm only with you in relationships, those women don't typically cheat, even though they might have a higher body count, right? If you are, one thing that I hear, oh, you're a born again virgin. That's not even a thing. But the thing is that when you know the Lord, and I'm saying this as in not saying, yes, you can't go back in and be a virgin.
Right.
Okay. I get that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely get and see that. Right. You can't go back in and be a virgin.
Right.
But you can be healed.
Yes.
And with that, like, the Lord can heal, and we act like he can't, because it's clear that a lot of these people, not all of them, because some of them do in red space, they profess to be Christians, and yeah, some of them do. There's some of them that'll be like on the whatever podcast or whatever. Right. And so I see some of them, Tristan Tate. That's his name, right? His brother?
Tristan, yep.
Yeah. He's a Christian while Andrew is Muslim.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there are people in this space who have they have a lot of Christian views and values and things like that. But the thing is that when you look at Paul, when he was Saul turned to Paul, okay, like in Acts chapter 9, when he met Jesus Christ on the road to Damascus, after Jesus had already been caught up in everything, he couldn't even have the same name because his life was so changed after meeting Jesus Christ. And the thing is that a lot of these girls who do OnlyFans and stuff, they have daddy issues. Okay?
Wouldn't doubt it.
And if you meet the father without the father that's perfect, you're telling me that can't heal your issues? You're telling me, and the thing is, maybe they have daddy issues because they were sexually assaulted. Maybe they have daddy issues because they were, horrible things happen, right? And so it's like you're saying this, and then those women, men do tend to lean more on, well, that's why she's doing this. It's totally, it's now in some way acceptable. And it's like, and not saying it's acceptable, but then it's like, what if she gets help and she gets therapy and she actually heals from her trauma or whatever happened? And that's when it's like, okay, yeah, studies show. So I get erring on the side of caution, right? But there are definitely, but then also, does that make that blue pill turn to red? I don't know, because now she has this past, but she is a different person. Yeah. It's not a delusion. No,
it's not a delusion. The only thing that we would say in the red pill space is that you cannot be upset for those who judge you by your past.
And I agree with that.
Because you did do those things. Now, the one thing that you're saying that I absolutely resonate with is simply, we cannot deny the undeniable process or possibility of somebody to change. You can't deny that. You can't deny humans' ability to change.
No, you can't.
And when spirituality is involved into it, absolutely not. You cannot deny that change, because then what you're doing is rewriting the fabric of your character.
Right.
And because when there's a spiritual, and I'm speaking for myself, when there's a spiritual intervention, you can't help but to do a 180 degree turn, because your value system is morphed. Right?
Yes.
And when your value system's morphed, you move differently.
Right.
By that alone. And
you do have, there's a saying that's, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. And
I've never heard that before.
And if you look at it, Paul is a saint. He murdered, raped Christians, okay, tortured, all kinds of stuff, okay. Then he served his life for Christ. You have the doubters, you have doubting Thomas, you have Peter, who denied the Lord 3 times, who denied Jesus Christ. And in the end, all these men died. They were martyrs. Their life, I think all but one, their life was taken for believing in Christ. So you can't tell me that just because you do something wrong, you still can't serve the Lord. True. Okay. And you still can't be a saint one day. And so, but I'm just saying, like, there are going to be people who are going to be cautious, because what if you didn't really change? What if you go back to your life? Especially like when you look at addiction.
Yeah.
Sex can be addiction.
Correct.
That is a form of addiction that we fail to really look at as addiction. And if that's an addiction, it's like, just like somebody on drugs. I personally think that certain people have addictive personalities.
That is a thing.
And your personality, and I think this because they talk about how alcoholism is genetic. Right? They say being
addictive personality can be genetic.
See, so my thing is that I don't think that it's being an alcoholic. This is what I think, based off of me raising plenty of kids that I did not give birth to, and just noticing what they pick up, and raising my children and noticing how they are, and how my 2 daughters are 2 different people because I had them 11 years apart. I was a different person. There's still things that they do that's alike because I'm still that person, but I'm a different person.
Fair.
Okay. I've grown so much that the way I deal with things, I've learned better, whatever. And I can be maybe in some ways a better parent to my child that I had 11 years later, but also she's a different kid. So what I'm saying is, kids do what you do, not what you say.
Correct. And
because of that, if you have a bad temper, your kid has a bad temper, you can't punish your child for having a bad temper without changing you.
Correct.
And so there are things that your kids will do because they see you do, and that addictive personality is what they're going to pick up on, not what you say don't do. They're going to pick up on how you're turning to this every single time something happens. And that's what people fail to realize. So in that way, I think that it is because your kids will pick up all your bad habits before they will your good ones. Not saying they can't, because my kids also pick up good habits from me. But Alicia, when she was 4, I remember this very distinctively. When my 19-year-old was 4, she responded in a way that I didn't like. And it was exactly how I respond. And when I saw that, I was like, just go to your room. I sent her away, and I realized this is me, and I have to make this change. And I went in there and I said, look, I love you. You can't act like this. I know it's my fault why you're acting like this. And from there forward, my daughter, I'm about to get emotional real quick. She came in like 2 months ago, and she was like, Mom, I know that when you discipline me, you always discipline me out of love. It wasn't out of anger. It was because you want me to be like a good functioning member of society. You want me to make my own decisions. You want me to be my own person, but you don't want me to be a bad person. And she's like, you always discipline me out of love, and it wasn't out of anger. And when she was 4, I used to boom, 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 so when she was 4, I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, how many spankings do you think is good for you?
At 4?
I let a 4-year-old, she said 5. If she would have said 1, I'd be like, nah, bro. And I was thinking maybe her age, but she said 5. So since then, and I am a creative disciplinary. When she threw trash out of the bus, I had her walk around the neighborhood and pick up trash. So she got suspended off the bus, but I didn't spank her for it. I didn't give her a whooping. But if there were things that were like catch-alls or whatever, I would send her to her room so I could calm down. Then I would go in there and I'd say, this is what happened. This is why you can't do that. Now it's time for your whooping.
Nice.
And she would get it. And it was, hands to the butt. I was where I lived, it was, at that time, the law, you could whoop your child. You could whoop them with a wooden spoon or something like that, or your hand, but it had to be on the butt. In Kansas City, in Missouri, corporal punishment is legal. And you can spank your child also, just for the record. Like, now you're going to have to defend that in court if somebody says it's abuse, just for the record. But you won't have to defend a spanking. Okay. But you would have to, corporal punishment is legal. So you would have to defend that to make sure it's not child. I think corporal punishment might be a little, but how do I know this? I've been in court. Not for me, though. It wasn't for me. It was for someone else. But I learned a lot.
So I'm staying quiet.
I learned a lot. Yeah, so just knowing that your kids are going to pick up addictive behaviors, whatever the case is, and they might not like the drugs or the alcohol.
Yeah.
She might like the...
And I will say this, there's plenty of adults now that I run into that because they grew up around the drugs and alcohol, they saw that they didn't want to be.
Yeah. One of my kids, I'm not going to put him out there like that, but his father had an addiction problem. And because of that, he doesn't want to drink. He doesn't want to, he's touched weed a time or two. It's not like something he really ever really did. And you're right. So it's like, it's funny because I think my brother didn't drink for the longest. He didn't drink because my father was an alcoholic. My sister did. She went through therapy and all this stuff, and she no longer drinks. She smokes weed like crazy, though. So it's like I think she has that addictive personality. Not to put her out there. I have 3 sisters, so it could be any of them. But me, I remember she called me at 2 a.m. maybe on station in North Carolina. She said, I'm not an alcoholic. I can quit when I want. I could drink for like 2 months. Cold turkey. I was like, nope, I'm good. And then I was like, if I was an alcoholic, could I do that? No. And I don't drink socially. I don't drink for my emotions. There's things when I won't touch it. If I'm in a bad mood, I won't touch it. So, it's just one of those things. But anyways, off the alcohol, back to the pills. The purple pills.
Time for your vitamins.
Right.
I will say this, though. I've never touched anything, and I refuse to, only because I don't trust myself.
Wait, I thought you drank before.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
No, I've smelled stuff. Like, hey, try this. I'm like, what is it? Smell it. This smells like crap. Why would I drink this? It just... The only thing that smells good, honestly, is I saw them... No, I was at a wine bar, and they made this, cocktail with, espresso. And,
an espresso martini.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, if I did drink, that would be it. Because it's got my favorite coffee.
Yeah. Espresso martini is usually made with vodka.
And there's, something with, chocolate in it or whatever that went with it, too. The Kahlua or something like that or whatever. I don't know. But
it might be, depending. Bailey,
something. But either way, I had anger issues as a kid. So when my friends started drinking and all that, I was like, nah, I'm not. I don't want to know what's in the bees. Because, again, my dad, I was told growing up that he was abusive when I was a baby. And he had alcohol issues. So I'm just like, well, I'm not opening that door. I don't trust myself.
What is it that Jordan Peterson says? A harmless man is not a good man.
Correct.
A good man is a monster who can control himself. That is a a peaceful man is not a harmless man. Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, you guys know the quote if you're watching this probably. But yeah, and that's the thing is that I have been that monster. And I mean I've done a lot. I mean, some of my life. You know what I'm saying? I've done a lot. And I've seen a lot and I've had a lot happen. So I've been that monster, and to contain that monster and just want peace. I think that a lot of women can't provide peace to their man. Number one, they can't provide it to themselves.
First.
And they can't provide it to themselves because they haven't. If you cannot provide peace to yourself, you cannot create a peaceful environment for someone else. You haven't even done it for yourself.
Absolutely not. It'll never work.
And you need help.
No, it's interesting that you said that, because one of the things that I see, so when I used to be on dating apps, for instance, one of the things I noticed was the girls would always say, make me laugh, entertain me, or I'm bored. And so what I see is the need for external resources to ease the mind or to create distraction. And secretly, obviously, I never had the conversation with them. It would have been great to see what their response would have been. But my thing is what do you need distraction from? What are you running from? Within yourself. And because at the end of the day, man's superpower is the ability to think about nothing. Absolutely nothing. And
or the Roman Empire. Men think about the Roman Empire.
Really?
Do they not?
I don't really. I think about Vikings. Like my mind goes to
Okay,
Vikings.
that's kind of the same thing.
Okay, yeah. Like I will say, like I'm constantly like. Actually, when I was working out today, I was on this. YouTube has like a Vikings, like you can just look up Viking warrior music that plays for 10 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. You got the crow in the background and a bunch of crazy.
My mom would say, I love this. I'm gonna get a tattoo right here. My mom said, "I'm so little, my brother's so big because Vikings and pixies got together and made babies." And it's true.
Pixies.
Fairies.
And the first thing comes to my mind is Tinkerbell.
So, it's true in the sense that I'm Irish, Nordic, and Scottish. Like, that's almost my full DNA panel. Yeah. It's about 30% of each. So in a sense, it's true. You know what she said. As crazy as it sounded, I used to laugh all the time. She was like, "No, Picts, people who had tattoos, like more like Celtics." And I'm like, "No." She said pixies, and I was like, "Oh," because her brother's a foot taller than her. He was like 6'2" or something like that. She was like 5'2". My brother's 5'10". I'm 4'11". We're like a foot apart. And it's just the boys in her family. My cousin Andy, he's 6 something. Now his sister, she's probably like 5'7". He's not a whole foot, but also his dad was tall, so he has height but the boys on my mom's side of the family are just big. And so she used to say that. And so anyways,
I like that.
We can get back on topic.
It's okay. No, but I mean, it's peace is, now I will say this, studying Bushido, Way of the Warrior, developing my warrior mentality. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, as you said that, and as I'm processing right now live, I'm realizing like I don't really crave peace because peace to me would make me weak, would make me soft.
No.
But, because by being in the trenches, hustling, working on myself, developing, trying to hold myself accountable for fitness goals, financial goals, mental goals, writing my memoir, bubble, you can't have peace. For me, I'm not going to say you can't. For me,
now is not the time for peace.
Yes.
But the thing is, you still need peace. And I'm saying it as in you have to have a time for peace. There's a time for war and a time for peace. And even within your weekly routine, you have to have time for peace. Now, what your peace looks like, I cannot tell you, but you have to have time for peace. Your peace can be you in the gym for 2 hours a day. That can be your garden. You know what I'm saying? That can be where you garden.
Okay.
And where you tend to. Your peace can be anything that's not chaotic.
Okay.
So anything that is not chaotic, that's where you find your peace. Your peace could be when you cook dinner, when you meal prep. Yeah. Your peace could be watching TV. Maybe that's what you're thinking about peace. I can just chill, relax, and not worry about anything. Yeah. You just sat here and said men have the ability to think about nothing.
Correct.
And if men have the ability to think about nothing, then your peace is whenever you are in those stages that you can think about nothing and turn your 10 hours of Viking music on and just go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe your peace is when you're drifting.
Yeah, for sure.
See? And maybe you just can't drift right now, and that's fine. But your peace is when you're drifting. So, like, what do you mean you can't have peace? That is crazy. Every person can have peace, and I think every person deserves peace. And it's when you can create that peace for yourself that you then can be and create that peace for someone else.
That I would have to agree. That's where I would move into inner work, and because the peace has to start from within. One of the things I do know I was unfortunately bad at doing was looking externally for peaceful experiences or solutions, turning to women, for peace in a format of validation, like, oh, come snuggle up next to me. Okay, now this is just right. I can stay here forever. Right. But then what are you doing? You're not taking action. You're not moving forward. You're just, you become stagnant. And that moment might be nice. And maybe you've developed a great relationship with that person, but you can get addicted to that as well. Yeah. Or, having that consistently to me would create softness,
Right.
And unfortunately, again, humans are humans, and that could get tiring for somebody, boring for somebody over time.
Yeah.
It is also scientific proof that women need stimulation in more ways than one. You can't do the same thing over and over again.
I don't know. I kind of like routine.
You like well,
Do I?
I don't know. I mean, your background would make sense that you.
There are a lot of things. It's so funny because I don't like changes in my routine. The things that I do, I know what I do. I know when I do it. I like that. That is stability. That is, I want that. And one thing is that when you have a routine, you can then discipline yourself in different areas because you can create new routines.
That's true.
And discipline is freedom. So with that, but at the same time, I could be like, I don't have any plans this weekend. Let me go to Des Moines and find a great food place. Des Moines 2.5 hours away. It's not like it's a great place to go visit, but like for a weekend trip just to be someplace that's not here. Every city has history. And so that's the thing, like, let's go. Fair. I just sat here and planned out this whole road trip to go to the Redwoods, and my 7-year-old said, Mommy, can we go to Florida instead? So after spending hours planning a road trip, which would have been great, I had to turn around, and I didn't really plan one. We just drove, and it was not fun because I like to stop. Okay, I like to stop, but this time I had to just go. So my routine was different when I'm in the car because I like to stop every 3-ish hours, give or take, and see something, and then we can take a day to get there, and it's taking our time.
Yeah,
I was feeling rushed.
That's a real road trip.
Yeah, and this time it just wasn't. It wasn't that. But it was a good trip.
Nice.
But yeah, it wasn't that, and it was like, okay. So there are things. I like new foods. I like new restaurants. I like, so that's something else. But when I cook, I get the same meats. I get the same little prosciutto rolls. I get the same, especially when I'm doing meat. Like I might get some lamb or some oxtail if they happen to have it.
Oxtail?
They got oxtail at Price Chopper. Yes. I was like, oh, now I want to make some pasta with it. Like I'm like, oh. Look, I'm gonna make some. It's fine. It's fine. I don't even eat pasta.
Do you eat the oxtail? How does that work?
You eat oxtail? Have you never had oxtail?
No. Why would I eat a tail off of an animal?
Oh, I forget.
They don't have oxtail in Leawood, folks.
Okay.
We don't do that.
I can't believe you've never had oxtail.
No. Why would it? Who eats the tail off of an animal? I mean,
it's meat.
Even, isn't it just bone and tendons?
It's bone, and then around the bone is meat. It's kind of like a pomegranate. Instead of seeds, though, it's meat. The pomegranate has like a middle thing, and it has like little things.
Like a peach.
No, a peach has a pit. A peach is like every other thing. That'd be like a T-bone. A peach is like a T-bone. Okay, oxtail.
Because it has the thing in the middle, right? Which would be like the bone.
Yeah, but then there's like another. It kind of sticks out a little bit. The bone isn't just round. It kind
really?
of. It's kind of. We're gonna get some oxtail. I'm gonna have to go to the store and buy some to show you what oxtail. I can't believe you don't know what oxtail is.
No, and I know that there's like Hispanics like to eat the tongues and stuff like that and all that jazz. I know that that's a
beef
delicacy.
Tongue.
Yeah, beef tongue.
Can you hand me my donut?
This little squishy thing.
Yeah.
It's so adorable.
See, now you want to touch it. It's like,
no, I'm good. I'm good.
It's not a real donut, folks. I know I don't need these right now.
Oh Lord.
Anyways.
Yes, it's a beautiful day. It is.
Yeah.
I'm thankful.
Back to purple pill. Oh,
yes.
Does this come off? Okay. Anyways. Easily distracted here.
So actually, that's a good segue. Distractions are quite the conundrum or the confinement of the human mind, because in doing so it keeps us from using our hands or our time more wisely to edify one's life, to move forward, or to simply chase after one's goal. And I find that I'm reading a book right now that I highly recommend called Take the Stairs, and in the particular page that I'm on, it talks about like active and inactive procrastination. And there's a different terminology that it uses, but I'm just giving an example. So the levels of procrastination, there's 3 types of procrastinations. And the one in particular it talks about is when you're procrastinating by doing something that keeps you from doing what you need to do. So you prioritize something that's not a priority.
I think that's my procrastination. What are the other types of procrastination?
Well, there's like straight up procrastination where like you're putting something off. There's procrastination where the second one is the most common, where you are staying busy by taking on a bunch of things and not really finishing anything. Sorry, taking on a bunch of things and not really finishing anything, so that you're busy. And then the third one is prioritizing something that's not a priority in order to keep from doing anything that's a priority.
I don't know which one I am, but I definitely
so that you feel like you've accomplished something.
Okay, but here's the thing. I procrastinate. The fact that I still get things done when I procrastinate is why I still procrastinate. If I didn't get anything done,
then you feel bad.
So the fact that I still get done what I need to get done, it might take a month, but I still get it done.
Right.
Or I get everything done by the deadline.
And that's the thing. Procrastination doesn't mean you don't do it, but you put off doing it in a timely fashion.
Yes. When I was in school, when I was in college, I would sit here and it's due, I think, midnight on Sunday. I'd be up Saturday night writing up 5 pages.
Yep.
And you know what? I think I do really well under pressure.
Same.
I do. And so I'm way better at things. One thing, I can't multitask. Someone said, if you think you're a great multitasker, you probably aren't. And I thought about it and I started looking at myself, and I'm not. I'll do something to do something else and do something else, and then I won't finish it. Right. I'll be procrastinating. So I'm like, yeah. I can't multitask, but I am great under pressure. That part is true.
Now here's a real question. For those of us that are great under pressure, is that a skill set that we built from procrastinating, or was it an innate talent within us naturally?
No, because I'm great under pressure, under real pressure. Like under people shooting around you, or people yelling at you. I don't have to be like, can you just stop so I can do this? It's like, I got this. I will tune you out and I will get done what needs to get done. Okay. And so, no, when I say great under pressure, it's not just
like timely.
It's not just timely.
Okay.
Okay. It is a high pressure situation is like, okay.
Lives are on the line.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, like I can work. I don't freeze up under pressure.
Good.
So I think that's probably going to be more so where it's at. Do you freeze under pressure? Do you know?
Now, is that a talent, or did you develop that?
I mean, I probably developed it, but I had an alcoholic, abusive father.
Okay.
Then I joined the Marine Corps. So I think my life path was be good under pressure. Be good under pressure or bad things happen. Okay. So
fair.
So, when you look at that, it's like, is it? I don't know.
Nice.
Anyways,
like that.
Any more questions on what the purple pill is? Because we can probably end this episode and start a new one.
Oh, we could. I think the purple pill is a great combination of tackling both sides.
Yeah.
I do like that because red pill can sometimes be very pointy fingery.
Oh, here's one thing about the red pill space that kills me. I get that when you have money, you have options.
Yes.
I understand that. Again, I know quite a few millionaires. I know quite a few people who make hundreds of thousands. I know, and I mean way more than the average person. Okay. Right. Because I've been in spaces and I continuously go to spaces that put me in these positions. But does that mean we're best friends? No, but I know people, and I do know, I know people who are film directors, Grammy Award winning people that I've grown up with. These people, we're friends. I could call them today if I needed something, right. Writers for Netflix and Peacock series. Okay. Like these are people I've known for years. Military or school or whatever has put me around people like that too. So I've met people, I've know people, whatever. And the funny thing is they always act like this is the message I get. This high value man will cheat because it's his innate DNA, biological response to spread his reproductive seed. No, sir. When they did that, it was a lot of people that weren't continuously having babies though. Yeah. When they did that, the likelihood of even in the 1600s, I think it was like some crazy 30-40% of women died in childbirth. And the child would die about 50% of that time. Well, they died in it was high. And so it's like when I don't know the studies, the actual numbers, I will look it up, but it was a high percentage. Okay. I know that. And it wasn't like majority. So I'm going to say like around 30-ish%. Okay. And then half of the babies would die. So you need a woman that could carry your seed and not die and not kill the baby. Right. Through that. On top of that, you had a lot of things like all these different typhoid and just these random diseases that would kill you that now we have like modern day medicine that can help you. And so even with this, there were reasons why the man might need to impregnate more than one person. Okay. We don't need that for survival these days. Yeah. You don't need to walk around. And on top of that, even historically, even like biblically, right? When a man did that, he had to be able to provide for her. In every religion, even in Islam, right? You have to be able to provide for her, care for her and that child. So if you're impregnating 70 different women, can you provide for 70 different women? So when you say this, maybe you can, but that's the whole thing too, is that
obviously we're not talking about having multiple kids either. Right.
What do you mean?
Like, so these men that you're referencing, right, that are promiscuous.
Right.
Right. It's the wealth gives them the freedom to have options.
Right. But their argument always goes back to, well, we were created to procreate. That's why we're doing this. And it's like, no, because honestly, if you're not procreating, what's the point of doing it? And I'm not saying like I don't believe that you shouldn't enjoy it. Okay. Because you should. You definitely should. But the thing is,
I've never heard that argument. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah, that is their actually. Oh, gosh, if I find it.
Because like my thing is, and even for myself, I'm a selfish man. I, reach a level of success that my life can be an example for others, but it's also to have options, to choose who I want to have. And not having kids, just to have and say, hey, you're really attractive.
Women should have options too. And the reason
they can,
why.
But there are social dilemmas
constructs
with that. Because here's the thing. Let's be very real here. You are somebody that I find attractive because of how you carry yourself. If you were on Snapchat and TikTok shaking your thing and, with Tyrone.
I was like, I am on Snapchat and TikTok, but I'm not shaking nothing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're, doing that, you had an OnlyFans account, I wouldn't have the same level of respect for you.
Right. So, of course not. No.
And I guess I can't speak for all
because
men.
that's the level of respect I have for myself.
Correct.
And that's what I think women don't understand.
And that's the thing. So when women have options, your options should not be multiple partners. I think your options should be what you want to have. But just like me, because I can't speak for all men, you have to be worthy of what you want. So,
I agree. Now, here's the thing. With options, why I say women should have options. Okay. This is why I say that. And I agree. It's not multiple partners. Women should have options because the man that I marry is who I need to be able to submit to.
Oh, yeah.
I have to trust this man enough to submit to him and do the things he asks of me. And if I do not trust him, then I should not be with him and I should not marry him.
Facts.
And that is something women are going to hear, submit. I need to have the options. I need to know and trust the man. And that doesn't mean that the first man I meet, maybe he could be, great. But I don't need a man that I need to just know. And maybe options is not the correct word. Okay. But I can't submit to just anybody.
Fair.
So if you can't even submit for me, are you submitting to the Lord? Because if not, if you are the final authority, and even again, when you look at women who are very submissive in other religions, they submit to their God. So it's like, when you look at this, I trust you because you can submit to the Lord. Mm-hmm. I can submit to you because I trust your decisions. Does that mean you're always going to make a great decision?
Right.
No, but I can trust you because I trust him.
Right.
And so women don't want to hear that stuff, but I need to be able to make the right decision in whom I'm choosing, and I will have better options if I have more respect for myself, because men value respect over love. Men want to be loved, but they need respect.
Correct. Yep.
First. Anyway, so welcome to the Purple Pill.
Yes.
And we